listening to the Wilson King Podcast. Run that track.
This episode of the Wilson King Podcast is brought to you by Right Live. Need a wedding DJ? Play in a band and looking for gigs or networking? Have a venue that needs an exciting event night? Contact Right Live for all your wedding, entertainment, band, and DJ needs. We are dedicated to providing the best entertainment, marketing, and production for all your special events. Go to our website at www.rightliveevents.com, rightliveevents@gmail.com, or visit us on Facebook at Right Live.
What's up, everybody? This episode's brought to you by Josh's Man Cave at Total Image Salon. If you're new to the area or just looking for a new barber, go see my friend Josh. He's a wizard with a straight razor and knows his way around a set of clippers and gives a damn good haircut. I should know. I go see him twice a month. If you're of age, he offers you a shot of whiskey or a nice cold brew while he cuts your hair. If you go down and see him, let him know I sent you. What the fuck is up, everybody? Welcome to our very fucking first video podcast that is not a live stream. We got two pretty epic people in here with us. They're out of this local band out of Hedgesville, I'm pretty sure, right? Hedgesville? Damn, see, I'm fucking good and I never even asked you. Some wild shit, isn't it? We got Maverick. Oh my God, I'm hitting my shit. We got Maverick and Dakota out of the band Cannon Hill. What is up, guys?
How you doing?
Good. How is everybody doing today?
I am fan-freaking-tastic, man. How are you?
I am really, really fucking good. I'm stoked because I was about ready to fucking throw this video switcher we got out a fucking window last weekend because I couldn't figure out how to work it. And now here we are, fucking doing the thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I got to ask, do you guys have any shows coming up in the near future?
We have Rock the Panhandle coming up in
June 18th.
June 18th. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that one's going to be a really fun one. I attended last year with Dakota and our former singer, Michael Saint. We attended that one last year just, to go there and support the local bands and stuff. And it was a fucking awesome festival. I mean, all those bands killed it, so.
Yeah, I probably drank, 15, 16 beers that day?
Yeah, like mine said, like, my tab said, like, Miller Lite, trash can.
So I was there too last year. I actually went and got a tattoo before we went to the show, and now I went there right after spending about 2.5 hours under the needle. Showed up and felt like fucking dog shit.
I bet,
dude. That was probably one of the worst times I've ever had in an outdoor festival. Besides Van's Warped Tour. Whenever it was on Atlantic City Beach, just because there was nowhere to cool down. I mean, you had the fucking ocean, but by the time you got out of the water, your feet were so fucking sandy, you were miserable. Right. There was no coolant tents, hardly any fucking, there was 2 water stations in the line. Both lines were a mile fucking long.
Yeah, it was a really fun festival, and I can imagine, like, having just getting a tattoo and then being out in the sun all day and shit like that. That's gotta suck, but I've never personally been to a Warped Tour or anything like that, so I'm not entirely sure how that operation rolls. But
Warped Tour's a good time. That's my type of music. That old pop punk metalcore, like, hits me in the fucking soul all day long.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit of a backstory on who is Cannon Hill.
Well, that depends. Do you want the entertaining answer that's going to be funny, or do you want like a more serious answer that's going to be less entertaining but impactful?
Why not a little bit of both?
Dakota, do you want to tell your point of view, and then I'll tell my point of view?
I don't even know. We're dumb.
Okay, so basically, like, all we are is we're just a group of guys that loves to have fun. Like, we don't like to screw around with, trying to be too serious about anything. We're always, we always got a smile on our face. We're always laughing around and just goofing off. I mean, me and Dakota met a couple years ago on this stupid little app called Jamseek.
We were the only two people on this app. No, actually, no, there was three. There was me and him and a 60-year-old piano player.
No, he was saxophone. Give him his respect.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and then I came across him, and well, actually, no, I didn't come across him. He came across me, and he shot me a message, and then me and him linked up and formed Unchained. And Unchained, you don't want to hear any of the music that we did with Unchained. So
That's fair. Now, you guys, I swear it was you guys. Didn't you guys go out to LA last year and play at the fucking, oh, god damn it, it's on the...
Whiskey Go Go.
Yeah, I almost called it Whiskey Ridge, and I was like, wait a second, that's not the fucking name. You all went out there and opened up for Quiet Riot?
Correct. Yeah.
Damn, I am fucking good.
You're on point today, bud.
I am on fucking point. No, so I remember seeing that, and I was like, who the fuck is Cannon Hill going out to fucking LA and opening up for Quiet Riot from this area? That is some fucking dope shit. I've been wanting to get you guys on for a hot minute now. It's just schedules didn't align, busier and shit. I'm glad we were finally able to make it work.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I've watched a few episodes of your podcast. I watched the one you did with Dale recently from Demise about Rock the Panhandle and stuff, and it was. Yeah, I mean, you've got a bunch of good content on your page. So,
well, the thing that I love but also hate about doing the live stream on Facebook is because it's on Facebook, I don't want it to be a full-length thing, right? I'm pretty sure if you were to tune into something for longer than 30, 45 fucking minutes on Facebook, you're going to be like, dude, this dude's a fucking pogue. He's a fucking annoying as shit. So I try to keep it in that like 30 to 45-minute range because if I do it much shorter, well, now I'm not getting the conversations that we should be having about whatever we're talking about. Like with Dale talking about Rock the Panhandle, the band's coming on. Yeah. Him dropping some fucking bombs on some people, but that's beside the point. Like, on here, what I love about doing it in studio is, in a roundabout way, we're unlimited on time.
Yeah.
But we are also kind of on a time crunch, too, at the same time, because I know people don't want to listen to me for no more than an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. You know what I'm saying?
Speak for yourself, bud. I can listen to it all day.
Well, I mean, this year alone has done a lot for us.
Yeah.
We've had so many different awesome people on this year.
Yeah.
I mean, just from January 1st until fucking now, we've had the 4-Leaf Loser on, Long-O.
Yeah.
We had fucking Whiskey Dick. I mean, Brad Harden. JB, those guys from the Basement Sessions who were doing awesome fucking things right now. Have had Brandon Wright on, fucking 12 Sins. My friend Allie Dangler, we talked about mental health for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Like, so much awesome stuff coming out this year. And now the fact that I can entwine you guys in with it fucking makes my heart so happy.
Rock and roll. We love it. Yeah, man.
So, let's bypass the music because... people know about music. What are your all's biggest influences in your music? The way you play, the way you write, what makes you think okay, this is going to be a killer riff or fuck. What instrument do you fucking play again?
Drums.
That's what I fucking thought. Who makes you bang on the way the drums the way this is a question for both of you guys. Because this is a question I love asking every single band that comes on, because mainly for the fact that everyone throws dingers at me. I've had some people come on who you would think that would fucking Job for a Cowboy would be their biggest influence, but it's fucking Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's move it over to you guys and let you all say what you got to say.
So every drummer is going to hate me for saying this. Every single one. There isn't a drummer out here that's going to agree with me.
I know where
this.
you're going.
Metallica is my biggest influence, right? And for some reason, everyone hates Lars Ulrich. But I don't know. the first time I listened to Metallica, the first thing I noticed was the drums. That actually wanted me to pick up the drums and start playing. You know what I mean? So I'd say they're probably number one. I mean, you got people like, I'm a pretty big '80s hair fan, so I let Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, and then I like some of the grunge stuff too, like Soundgarden, people like that. But yeah, what about you?
So for me, I mean, when I started playing guitar, I was like 11 when I got my first guitar. And
Don't mean to interrupt you. Just make sure you're talking like into the mic because these are dynamic.
Gotcha.
So whenever you're talking off to the side,
Roger
it still
that.
picks you up, but it sounds like you're far away.
Got it. All right. So like I said, I got my first guitar when I was 11, and it was this weird thing for me because I was trying to find my place as a musician, but my mom had told me that like my grandfather and his brother were like blues musicians. So I started playing the blues. I started learning from like B.B. King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Buddy Guy, Albert King. And then it all changed when I came across Eddie Van Halen and I discovered rock and roll. So then I started getting into like Kirk Hammett, Zakk Wylde, Slash, all that. So those guys get me going on my playing.
Honestly, I ain't gonna hate on you too much for Metallica because Lars is a fucking killer.
Thank you.
So I grew up in a household where my dad played drums, right? So my ambition was always to play drums. But whenever I got the opportunity to learn an instrument, my school didn't provide drums. It was you got to play a woodwind or a brass. So I picked a fucking clarinet and blew the fuck out of that thing. But what got me into a lot of the music I listen to today was listening to like oldies, the Archies, Dion and the Belmonts, Beach Boys. And then I moved into CCR, and then I moved into Ozzy, a.k.a. or Black Sabbath, because Ozzy wasn't by himself yet. Yeah. My bad for any people who are huge music fans. Fucking cancel me later. But
they will.
And then I moved into the 80s, listened to a fuck ton of Motley Crue, listened to a fuck ton of Guns N' Roses. And then I found Master of Puppets, moved into Metallica. And then I found Slipknot. And then Joey Jordison was the way I always wanted to play because that motherfucker could bang.
Yes, he can.
Yeah, yeah, man. The '80s, like I'm a huge '80s hair band guy too. Like I said, we were in a hair band for a while that was not very good, but we I love the '80s, man. I mean, Dokken with George Lynch, and then you had Bon Jovi with Richie Sambora on guitar, and then you just had a bunch of amazing guitarists in the 80s in all kinds of different genres. And, I wish I was around at that time in the 80s to watch the different genres like explode like that, thrash, glam. And then you had groove metal come in with Pantera and stuff like that. It must have been fucking dope to see that happening like right in front of your eyes.
I feel like that's how a lot of people feel, like going from the days of where like jazz and classical was the music, and then you saw like rockabilly coming, country coming out, So I feel like we've always had that kind of transition in music in the world. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the way it progressed, right? You had CCR, which in like CCR, Black Sabbath, and all those guys kind of turned to hair metal, right? And then that hair metal is what brought us, like thrash, glam metal, grunge. And then grunge turned into pop punk, metalcore, deathcore, death metal, black metal, like whatever fucking thing you can think of. Like it's all this progression. Squeeze me. But if just looking back through music history and to think that like all music came from like one genre blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I mean, all of what we listen to and all of what we love started with guys like Hendrix and the Beatles and Clapton and all that. I mean, my grandmother introduced me to Zeppelin. And a lot of people, because I talk to a lot of older guys that I work with or whatever, and they're like talking about their era, and when I bring up my grandmother introducing me to Zeppelin, they're like, "Your grandmother likes Led Zeppelin?" I'm like, yeah, dude, she showed me all those ones. Iron Maiden, Zeppelin, Judas Priest, so
Yeah.
I love the old school.
I grew up in like a religious household, so I was only allowed to listen to Christian music for a long time. So imagine how my parents feel about me being in a rock band. So, I just actually discovered Skillet first, and then I was like, wow, this music's pretty cool. When I discovered Skillet, and then I was like, started getting into other things. You know what I mean? Like Guns N' Roses, Metallica, like all that stuff. So actually, Skillet was probably the band that done it for me, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So, believe it or not, I used to be a huge fucking fan of Christian rock / metal, right? I used to listen to Flyleaf, The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Skillet, Fireflight, Project 86. So, there was a time, August Burns Red, Devil Wears Prada. There was a time in my life where I found these bands, but not because of like looking for a Christian band, which is wild. Like the only reason I found out about Flyleaf was Christian was because I listened to the song Cassie, but the acoustic version, and just like whenever they really break down the lyrics and you can understand them, but whenever you're playing the full pace song, sometimes words mumble together, or the way you pronounce it instead of pronouncing it, saying it behind, with an acoustic behind you, and just listening to the words, I was like, they gotta be Christian. And then you listen to their sophomore album, and you're like, oh, these guys are definitely Christian, and they fucking kill it.
Yeah.
And but most of my music just came from chilling with my grandparents or my dad being like, hey, listen to this tape. Hey, this is 9 Inch Nails. This is...
Yeah, see, most of like what I listened to came from my parents. Definitely, my mom. When I was a little kid, I remember being in the backseat of her Jeep, like jamming to like Bon Jovi and Pantera and just this whole array of like rock and roll from the 80s and 90s. And my dad, I would ride in his Camaro, and he'd turn on like the Black Album by Metallica, and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome, So when I started getting into guitar, my parents thought that was really cool. And, they've always been like pretty supportive of me, like through the whole thing. And I always thought that was pretty dope because it's not very often you have parents that are supportive of their musician kids. And I think that the world could use a little bit more of that, believe in your kid's craft and your kid's art,
Oh my God, I keep muting myself so I ain't breathing in the fucking mic. But that's one thing that I think kills a lot of kids' creativity is their parents are like, you need to focus on sports. You need to focus on this. Like me, I always joke around whenever I have kids, like my kids are going to wrestle. I don't give a fuck because like I wrestled growing up and like wrestling taught me a lot of life lessons that I wouldn't have learned if I didn't play a sport that like teaches discipline or, teaches you how to stay within like level-headed or not fly off the handle just at the, snap of fingers. But at the same time, I got out of playing instruments because I came up, going to Berkeley Springs. If you didn't play fucking sports, you weren't a fucking cool kid and blah, 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 blah. I got picked on a lot growing up. So I started doing this whole, well, I'm just going to focus on sports. You know what I mean? If I get good enough at it, I'll quit getting picked on. Yeah. So I put music to the side. But music has always been a passion of mine. I mean, that's the fact that I get the opportunity to bring on all these awesome local bands and artists is fucking sometimes brings a tear to my eye. Like, honestly, because seeing what you guys are doing, like, I kind of feel like I'm living through you guys, like just knowing you coming to your all shows, like knowing a little bit of the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know everything. I don't give that much of a shit about it, but like I give a shit about how you guys are. You know what I mean? Like I give a shit about like your all's progression, about how you guys are going about, promoting yourselves or what can I do to help you guys get found elsewhere? Right. And that's like my biggest thing for doing this show, at least in this last couple months, has been like, I really wanted to push the local art. It doesn't even have to be music, like painters, drawers, tattoo artists, whatever, because art is art. Yeah. And if you can't find some kind of solitude in any kind of art, that's a sad life in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of I notice a lot in music too. Like a lot of people think that their way is the best way, unfortunately, and it's like, you know, I notice it a lot in like a lot of like music and like bands and stuff like that. It's like it's called like elitism, and I feel like it's truly like killing a lot of people's creativity because everybody's trying too hard to impress their fellow musicians instead of just playing for them. You know, play for yourself. You know, and that's kind of what we're built on, is kind of saying, you know, fuck the rules that everybody else sets. We're just going to do whatever we want anyway.
Yeah.
Fuck the system, dude. Wait, did you want to say something? Fucking say something. My bad.
Way to go, Dakota.
Dude, no, like straight. I feel like every single time I go to talk, you're about to say something, and then I just start running with it. So if you want to say something, look at me and be like, dude, shut the fuck up and let me talk for 2 goddamn seconds.
Nah, you're good. Yeah, it's like there's really not I don't think there's like a rebel anymore. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, you had people like Motley Crue, for instance. You know, you watch the movie Motley Crue, all the stuff that they did. You know, they were rebels. You know what I mean? I don't really feel like anyone does that anymore. You know what I mean? Or they're too afraid of getting canceled, or too afraid of just, you know,
it's very cancerous.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everybody's so afraid because society's made them afraid.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we haven't had another band the size of Metallica, you know, because so many like bands are worried about what the other bands think of them. Mm-hmm. You know, like we played with a band that will remain nameless, but we played with a band one time that was like very mad that I was drinking on stage because it was against the rules of some kind. And it's like, I don't think you understand that your biggest influence is Metallica, and their nickname for years was Alcoholica. Like, they were wasted on stage 24/7. The way I see it is, as long as you can still perform, I think you're good.
My bad, Joe. I had to mix another drink. But I mean, dude, cancel culture is so fucking cancerous.
Oh,
like,
it's the worst, man.
It puts people on edge, and that's one thing with this show. If I get canceled before I ever get big, so fucking be it.
Yeah, so.
But there needs to be a platform for the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, you got Joe Rogan, who he brings on controversial people all the fucking time, and I love it.
Oh, me too.
You know? But where are these conversations coming from for the local level?
Yeah.
You know? Like, I mean, they talk about Los Angeles, San Francisco, Austin, but, like, what about Winchester?
Yeah.
What about Martinsburg, Hedgesville, Berkeley Springs? I mean, the drug issue is just as bad here as it is anywhere else.
Oh, it's terrible here.
And God damn, dude, if I can jump down a rabbit hole from cancel. But, like, it's really bad. I've seen way too many people that I know and have met after being an addict that's like, dude, this area is fucking shit.
It is. I live like right in town in Martinsburg, and I'm frankly like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, because I live with my girlfriend, you know, and I'm tired of having to tell her all the time when I leave for work that the guns are loaded and they're under the bed, and like, I'm tired of having to worry about if tonight's going to be the night, you know, that some drug addict tries to break into my house because he needs his next fix, and I have to do what I have to do. I'm tired of it. You know, I don't ever want to have to use my firearms ever, but it's kind of sad that I feel like eventually I might need to if I don't get out of there soon, you know? And of course, the housing market the way it is, good luck with that. You got something you want to add on to it?
I actually paused for a second to give him time to say something. But, you know, I've always been a huge proponent for decriminalizing all drugs, right?
Absolutely.
And not for the fact of it's a fucking free-for-all out there, but for the simple fact that we need to be able to get this stigma off of drug use, right? Like, addiction is a serious fucking problem that people need help with.
Yeah.
Throwing them in fucking jail and prison isn't helping them because you're fucking them for life to where they can't come out and reestablish their life. They can't come out and fucking go out and get a decent paying job. You know, they're stuck doing fucking minimum wage, or they're stuck doing construction, which construction can be a very, very profitable business.
Yeah, it can.
But how often do you see in the construction industry heavy fucking drug abusers?
Yeah.
And because you got all those drug abusers around each other, the people that are trying to get clean and get their life on track, well, now they're back in the same situation they were in before. So I think that we should, instead of sending drug abusers, anyone who fucking addicted to anything, alcohol, fucking meth, crack, cocaine, instead of sending them to prison for their addiction, send them to a halfway house, or send them to a sober living home, or send them through a rehab facility. And dude, I would be A-okay as a citizen funding someone to get over their addiction.
Right.
Because I've seen it tear way too many families apart.
Yeah. I mean, I had a family member who was, really bad into the drugs and stuff, and it hurt me every day, seeing him the way he was, and he'd stolen from me and like a bunch of family members and stuff, and it was like, we were mad at him for stealing from us, but all we wanted was to see him get better, and now he's finally clean, and he's sober, and he's married, he's got 2 kids, he's probably one of the happiest men that I know now that he's got himself situated and stuff. So just goes to show you that if somebody takes the right steps in their life and they truly want to get better, then they can. Anything is possible if you set your mind to it.
The sad part is, like, they don't even know what they're doing at the time. You know what I mean? Like, they don't realize it until it's already
late.
done.
Yeah.
Like, I just had a situation where in the beginning, I had a family member who was hitting me up for money, right? Like, I want to get clean, I want to do better, this, that, the other, given the typical spiel, like, hey, I need a little bit of cash,
Yeah.
And I had a feeling that he wasn't trying to get better, he was just trying to, like, get whatever, you know what I mean? And what helped amplitude that is I saw a Facebook post, like, where he started losing shit on people for not wanting to help him. And people were like, well, someone offered to buy you a pair of shoes. And I'm like, I sent him money to get shoes. I sent him money to get a sleeping bag, a nice heavy fucking coat, like all this fucking money. And I'm like, okay. And then a couple months go by, he quits hitting me up. And then he hits me up again. He's like, hey, I need money so I can go turn myself in so I can just get this legal shit over with so I can finally move on with my life. And I'm like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then he was like, a couple days go by. And then he's like, yeah, I'm out now, but I need to go to this other county to blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, I hadn't heard from him for a minute. He's like, I handled everything I needed to handle. It was like 2-3 months, kind of a typical, get out on good behavior type thing, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm getting back to work. I'm spending time with my kid, blah, blah, blah. Like, could you throw me a couple bones so, like, I could get help? Or he'll be like, hey, can I send you money over PayPal and then you cash app it to me so I have it? And I'm like, I can help you in that way. And him and I had a conversation where he's like, honestly, dude, if you wouldn't have, like, showed me, like, the graceful hand you did, I would not be getting better right now. I'd still be running from the law.
Yeah.
And, I mean, maybe he's telling me the truth. Maybe he's not. But I believe it because I feel like if he was still in that situation, he wouldn't be trying to help his significant other start a Twitch channel to talk about addiction. I don't think he'd be actually working or whatever,
Yeah.
So I'm hoping he gets better, but, sometimes it also takes that one person that they don't expect to help them, to show them, hey, maybe there are still good people out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, and it's like some people get mad. Some people get mad at them because what they do and stuff. But addiction's addiction. You can't. It's like saying stop breathing. Just try to stop breathing for a minute. You can't. But it's just it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like telling me to quit smoking.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've been told by my parents and other people to quit smoking, and I never did.
Well, if I'm being honest, for a hot, I've never battled addiction with anything that's, like, super, like, pull you in, fucking whatever, right? But I was an alcoholic at one point.
Right.
And I found out my own way to get a healthy relationship with alcohol, right? You know, whenever I realized I had a problem, I was like, fuck this. I'm not drinking if it's a work night, right? And then not drinking unless it's the weekend turned into, okay, I'm only going to drink here and there. And then, you know, doing the podcast, I mean, sitting down and having a couple drinks while doing the podcast or going, or like, you know, whenever I go out to the bar with my fiance, I can go out and have like 2 or 3 beers and be A-okay and not be like, all right, let's get fucked up. But
Not me.
Oh, dude, there was a point in my life where I was drinking 7 days a week. 7 fucking days a week. And you want to make me realize I had a problem? My kidneys hurt every fucking day, and I had the shakes.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a telltale sign right there.
Oh, 100%. But the fact that I was able to do that, and like all it took was me realizing there was an issue, right? And then turning it into a positive, like a learning experience. Like I follow this guy on TikTok now where he's a liver failure survivor from alcoholism, and he preaches about how like you can still build a healthy relationship with alcohol after the fact of being an alcoholic. It's all about how you go about it. He's like, you're always going to crave the drink. Well, whenever you crave, drink water or drink a soda. Soda's not the healthiest option, but you know what I mean? Like, do something like to curb your craving, right?
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, the reason you're craving alcohol is because you're thirsty. And whenever you got thirsty as an alcoholic, what did you grab? You grabbed a beer, or you grabbed your whiskey, or you grabbed whatever. And so he has this whole platform where he's like, you can still drink alcohol. You just got to learn how to have that healthy relationship.
Yeah, it's almost like that Pavlov thing, you know, when he'd ring a bell and get the dogs to salivate. You know, when you're thirsty, you grab alcohol, and then, you know, it's kind of like one thing leads to another. But me, like, I have a pretty healthy relationship with alcohol. I feel like, you know, I like to party and have fun, but I know when to say when, you know. I know when to stop. And, you know, my dad taught me from a young age that, you know, you let your mind control the substance and not the other way around. And, you know, those words have stuck with me almost my whole life. You know, those words have always stuck with me. So I've always been, you know, I've always done my best to keep my side of the street clean on everything. You know, I don't mess around with anything that'll pull me in either. You know, I don't get into any of the hard drugs or anything like that. Hell, I don't even like smoking weed. That's puts me to sleep, man.
I wish I could fucking smoke. Okay. Let me rephrase that because that came off kind of harsh. But so I've always, like, before I joined the Army, I was like one of the potheads in Berkeley Springs, right? And weed's always been that it's going to put me out drug, right? Like, I smoke it, I'm probably going to be asleep within the next little bit. Like, it slumps me.
Yep.
But that's why I used to drink alcohol all the time, was so I could sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I'd rather fucking take a couple hits off of J and have a great night rest than down a fucking 12-pack and wake up the next morning feeling like hammered dog shit.
Yep.
But my biggest goal in life for the last, like, year or two, since, you know, with the few recovering drug addicts I've talked to or people still in active addiction, I want to open up like a sober living around here. Something that's like not a halfway house.
Yeah.
But like sober living's technically a halfway house, but it's a more laid back halfway house. You know what I mean? Like, it's a decent house, you get decent bed, you know, food. All you got to do is work. That's it. I mean, I've never been in a halfway house. Only ones I've seen are on TV or the ones that other people have experienced in the inner city.
Yeah.
And not that they're shitholes, but like
They're not the best.
they're not the best. Like, I want to go to Berkeley, buy a fucking 12-bedroom fucking house, renovate it, make it as nice as I can fucking make it. I say 12-bedroom, like that's an over-exaggeration.
Yeah.
But like, I want to go buy the biggest fucking house in Berkeley I can find and open it up, like, you know, 2 to a room, you know? And pretty much you take care of yourself. The only thing I'm doing is making sure that you're staying on track. You're still going to have to do drug tests because we can't have someone in the house that's not clean, because then that's going to taint the rest of the house. And obviously I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to like charge an outrageous amount. I'll be like, hey, you can come here and stay $100 a month or something. You know what I mean? Like $100 a month for treatment
It's hardly anything.
is hardly anything, especially because like with my program, I want to do my program in a sense to where like I have these connections to get people like decent paying jobs. You know, it's kind of hard to get the connections to get the really good jobs, but like, you know, if I can get them a decent paying job to help them get back on their feet, like I will feel like I've done every mission in my life that I was supposed to do.
Yeah. That's what we need around here too, because there's just so many people around here that's just addicted.
Yeah,
Like it's sad, really.
it is. It's terrible.
Well, the hardest thing about this area is it's hard to get away from your old friends. And there isn't really nothing around here. I mean, they were supposed to turn the old Boys and Girls Club into a halfway house rehab facility. Like Brandon Novak even came down to talk about it, if you know who Brandon Novak is.
His name sounds familiar, but
Did you ever watch Viva La Bam growing up?
oh, okay, that's where I know.
You remember fucking Bam's best friend, Brandon?
Yeah.
The dude who always did the craziest shit?
Yeah,
Yeah, like he came down to Berkeley and talked about like, hey, like, blah, like, you know what I mean? He was one of the speakers whenever they did the meeting for it.
that's pretty cool.
And it was in the talks, but I haven't heard anything past that. And that is something we need in this area, not just for Berkeley, but for fucking Martinsburg or for fucking Winchester or Charlestown, Harper's Ferry. This whole tri-state area needs something like that because this whole tri-state area is fucking bad. I mean, there's a reason Martinsburg's called Little Baltimore.
Yeah. Well, Hagerstown is in need of something like that too, because I'm in Hagerstown all the time, and Hagerstown is just terrible. I mean, it is terrible. Hagerstown is getting really bad. You know, just the rise in the homeless and the drug addiction and where the drugs are coming from. You know, they call 70 heroin highway because it just runs straight from Baltimore up here, and then that's where the drugs are coming from. But you know, yeah, you're right though. This area does need a little bit of something, and you know, without help, how can these people get better? I was a correctional officer, man. I met all kinds of inmates in there, and you know, a lot of people have this weird stigma about people in jail, and they think that they're all bad people, they're all criminals, but in reality, a lot of them are just people who made mistakes. And I think that there's a really bad stigma around stuff like that, in that general vicinity of conversation, is that people think that it's all, you know, everybody who does it's bad, everybody who doesn't do it's good, and that's it. It's not so black and white, man.
Here I am pausing for fucking Dakota, and he doesn't want to say shit now. Jesus, fuck, man. But I just listened to an episode of JRE I'm still in the middle of it. I haven't finished it, because for some reason, every fucking time I start listening to it, it fucking cuts me to another episode. Like, I'll listen to it for like 20 minutes, and it'll cut me into it. I'm like, I didn't click nothing. I just want to listen to this one. But it was with Michael Schellenberger. I think I said that right. And he's not aspiring. He's running for governor in California. And he wrote a book over the summer called San Francisco. And he went around to like LA and San Francisco and interviewed the homeless and was like, the majority of them aren't even from this fucking county. They came here from like Ohio because they give the homeless money.
Yep.
And in these homeless camps is literally just open drug trade.
Yep.
So it's just like, if this area ever turns to that, something's got to be done.
Yeah.
Something has to be done. Because especially on this side of the state, sometimes it doesn't really seem like Charleston really gives a fuck about over here.
Right.
But they also got enough problems over on that side of the state with Huntington, Kanawha County, all those.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason there was a Netflix documentary filmed in Huntington, West Virginia.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I remember watching that.
Yeah, it was like Heroin U or some. It was something I can't ever remember the name, but I remember watching it, and because with me wrestling in high school, going to Berkeley Springs, you know, I made it to states. States were every year in Huntington, and like just seeing spots that like I recognized from being in high school was just like, holy fuck! I never realized it was this bad in West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia, man, it's gotten really bad, especially the Eastern Panhandle. You know, if you go towards more of the southern part of West Virginia, or like, you know, the western portion of West Virginia or anything like that, I'm pretty sure it's mostly like, you know, methamphetamines or moonshine and stuff out there that as far as illegal trade goes. But out here in the Eastern Panhandle, I've noticed it's a lot of heroin here in the Eastern Panhandle, and it's really, really bad.
Yeah, when we went down to California, it was bad. It was really, like, I've never seen so many homeless people.
Yeah, the Walk of Fame where all the stars are, it's just a bed for homeless people. The camps are out in the sidewalks. You have to go in the street to walk around, and man, it's sad. It's really sad.
Well, in this area, it's not just heroin, dude. It's fentanyl that's taken over now.
Yeah.
And then you got people that their drug of choice is heroin, and they get shit laced with fentanyl, and they're fucking overdosing left and right because of how potent fentanyl is.
It's really bad.
I mean, and it's just the war on drugs does nothing to fucking help it.
No.
Does nothing to fucking help it.
Not at all.
I mean, maybe back whenever they fucking came up with it, possibly it could have maybe done something if it was done differently. But whenever you're fucking fighting the cartels left and fucking right, all you're going to do is make them find more clever ways to get it in, or more clever ways to get more in, or throw more into the fucking country in one fucking shot instead of getting, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yeah.
The war on drugs was the fucking downfall.
Yeah.
For fucking the United, okay, not the full downfall. I was about to get way too fucking deep there, but the war on drugs is the reason we are in the situation we're in right now, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I think the war on drugs is a terrible idea, especially now. I think it's gotten out of hand now. It's gotten to the point where it can't be controlled the way they want to control it, and it's almost like they've dumped way too much effort into it in the beginning, and then like when they saw that it wasn't working, they wanted to try and like stick to their guns, and they're like, no, see, it works, and then, you know, it's kind of like that stubborn guy that has a plan that just doesn't work, but he wants to ensure you that it does work, and he just keeps trying no matter how many times he fails, you know.
Kind of like him in the band.
Yeah, pretty much.
God, I wish I had fucking sound effects for that. That was pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie.
He always comes up with quick zingers, man. It's funny.
Dude, quick singers are my middle fucking name.
See, we're currently in the process of looking for a vocalist. So
the guy that was with you guys, he had short hair, right?
Yeah, Michael Saint. Yeah,
dude, I don't know his fucking name. I'm pretty sure the first time I saw you guys was in fucking was it Granny's?
Either Granny's or Bad Habits. One of the two.
It had to have been Granny's.
Yeah,
I swear it had to have been because fuck.
It was Granny's.
It was
I remember
fucking last year.
Yeah, I remember because I was outside smoking and that's where we shook hands and met. That's right.
Yeah, because you were sitting at the table and you handed me your card.
Yeah, and I was about halfway drunk by then, so I don't remember that long ago when I was about halfway drunk. So.
Oh, dude, I can't even remember what all bands played that night.
I think it was Demise was the headliner.
Yes.
And then who was the other one?
I picture him, but I don't
seriously, I don't remember.
It was this like short, skinny dude who fronted them because that was like their first show in like 2 or 3 years, wasn't it, or like 3 or 4 or something like that?
Yeah.
And dude, for being their first fucking show in a few years, they fucking killed it.
Yeah, they were really good.
They were amazing,
dude.
There's so much talent in this area, man. It's
I was
ridiculous.
about to say the same fucking thing, dude. Like
holy shit. Like,
fucking elaborate on that.
So, like, when I first started getting really into the scene here, you know, I jammed in, like, you know, with other musicians and in bands before, but I have not been this involved in the music scene before. And I have seen and met so many fucking talented people, man. Like, Defending Kane, Future to Claim, Ignite the Fire. There's so many fucking awesome bands in this area that are just killing it every day, and I think they deserve a lot more recognition than they get. And, you know, I think it all goes back to what Dakota was saying earlier about needing that dangerous band, that band that's edgy and just doesn't give a fuck, you know, and just does whatever they want. So when we find our vocalist, we're kind of looking for a rock and roll Conor McGregor, if you will. Like you know, like one of those, like, oh, you're open for Cannon Hill, you know, we're the best ones out here. You can't do that. You know, not really, but you get my point. We need somebody dangerous.
Not gonna lie, that was a really good Conor McGregor impression.
Dude, he does impressions all the time. He can do anything. Do Peter Griffin.
Do Peter Griffin? What do you want to hear Peter Griffin for?
All right, now Stewie.
Why do you want to hear Stewie? Stewie's all right. Everybody likes to party with Stewie.
He does this at practice, like, all the time.
My favorite one's my Trump impression. Cannon Hill is the absolute best band that there is. They are the #1 band. You know it, I know it, everybody else knows it. Nobody knows Cannon Hill like I do. Really, they're great.
Do Obama.
Well, Cannon Hill. I was almost keeping it together until Dakota fucking laughs.
Oh my God. Now I need to ask, right?
All right.
This impression thing.
Oh, God.
I want you to give me like your best one. In your opinion, what you think is your best one. Give me your fucking best fucking just impression that you fucking can.
Jesus. Let me. Fuck. Who all can I do? I could do so many.
Dakota, hit me with this best one you've ever heard.
Let me
Jeez, man, I got you all fucking like on skates right now.
Yeah, no shit. I was not expecting this question. This one's a left fielder.
He can do a lot good. Like, it's hard to point out.
Oh my God, who's that one fucking dude? Oh my God. Holy shit. Hang on, let me search this up because I know the perfect
hey
one
there,
I'd like to
young
hear
man.
you go.
You want a popsicle?
You almost missed the whistle. I heard it. I want to hear your best Christopher Walken impression.
So I actually, unfortunately, I hate to do that to you, but I actually don't know his voice very well.
God damn.
So, like, the thing is that what I do when I do an impression is I find out, like, they have to have a very unique voice, like, you know, like Barack Obama or Donald Trump or Peter Griffin or something like that. And I pick out certain words that they enunciate a certain way, and then I utilize that, and I just kind of, like, push it on. It basically stems from me and my cousin Meech. Me and him were roughly the same age in middle school and high school, and we spent years making fun of our teachers and how they talked. We actually drove one of our teachers to quit. It's actually really sad, but
How in the fuck do we go from talking about drugs and the war on drugs to fucking impressions?
you keep me here, we'll change the topic 50 times, I
No,
promise.
But I used to, I remember, dude, impressions kill me, especially whenever people can do them really fucking well. Like, impersonators fucking blow my mind. Like, especially the Elvis ones. I mean, there's so many of them nowadays, but like, whenever you find that really good one, like out in Vegas, holy shit.
Well, my Uncle Clyde's an Elvis impersonator, and I've never actually seen him do it, so I don't know how good he is, but he's an Elvis impersonator. He gets really into it, you know, with the clothes and, like, everything, man. It's pretty cool to see people do that, you know, regardless of how good they are. It's just cool to see people take it that far. And
Can you do Elvis?
I don't know. I've never actually listened to his voice. I've only heard over exaggerations of his voice. Like, thank you very much. Yeah. You know, but
I mean, that's pretty close. So that's one thing I like to do with this show. Like, if we would have never came to this impersonations conversation, I would have never known it, and none of your fans would have known it.
Yeah. I love doing the impressions, man. It's like one of my favorite things to do just for fun, because, like, I catch people so off guard with it. Like, my girlfriend's parents, I hit them with the Donald Trump impression, like, out of left field, and they thought it was hilarious. You know, I enjoy making people laugh. You know, that's like one of my favorite things to do.
Time out. You guys want another beer?
Yeah, please. Can I get
All I got Yingling left or a double IPA.
I'll take a Yingling then.
Same.
They are twist off, right?
Yes.
Thanks, sir.
Oh no, I gotta put this back on. Okay. Fuck, I thought I muted myself. I'm a piece of shit. No, but let's go. You know, I brought it up earlier, but we never really talked about it. What was the experience like playing a Whiskey Go-Go?
It was intense.
It was pretty awesome.
It was cool because when we got to the whiskey. So we arrived in LA, got off LAX. He got enticed by a prostitute like the first 10 minutes we were there.
Yeah, dude, this prostitute comes up and she's like we're checking into the hotel and she comes up and she's like, "You want some gum?" And she makes this like motion with her hand. And like me not catching on to things very well, I was like, "Oh no, I'm good." And then like it hit me like 15 minutes later. I was like, "That was a prostitute."
She was asking to suck you off. But like, so we got off LAX. We stayed in our hotel for the night. We actually walked to the Rainbow Bar and Grill, and we took a picture with the Lemmy statue and everything. And you know, there's like pictures of like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses hanging out there. And then the next night, we went to the Whiskey A Go-Go to play, and we walked into the load-in door, and the sound guy was, you know, out doing his thing. And I asked if we could start loading in. And the second because the door swings in at the load-in door, so we walked in, and I look up at the stage, and Quiet Riot was in the middle of doing their sound check. And these guys are like childhood heroes of mine. So I'm like starstruck when I walked in there. I was like, son of a bitch, that's Quiet Riot. And Johnny Kelly was the drummer. He used to drum for Typo Negative, and I got to talk to him for a little while, and that was pretty cool. But being backstage, and they have this banner, the Whiskey A Go-Go banner, and you could just look at all the little signatures, and it's like nothing but like all the signatures from all the younger versions of the bands we know of is massive today.
Yeah, there was like Axl Rose and
James Hetfield. Like it was really cool. And then the walk to the stage was intimidating as shit because it was a packed house from start to finish. We go down the stairs and it's just a sea of people in front of us, and we were like, holy shit. So we did our best not to embarrass ourselves there, and I think we did a good job.
Yeah, we did. That's probably the best we've ever played, and probably the best we ever will play.
I think a close second is Blue Ridge Rock Fest.
Yeah.
I think that was a close second because the only reason I think that was a close second was simply because I stepped on my pedal and unplugged myself
In front of
like
what?
5,000 people. They were all waiting for Seven Dust, and they just so happened to catch us because we were right before Seven Dust and right after Fozzy. So we absorbed both of those crowds, and it was fucking sweet. Like before we started playing, we had like 200 people in front of us, and then after I get done, I look up after we get done the first song. There's like thousands of people in front of us. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I remember seeing on Facebook, y'all posted up a picture. That was with Quiet Riot, right? Or was that with like some of Quiet Riot?
Well, we took pictures with Driven by Turmoil. I took a picture with Mitch Perry, which he's like a legendary producer, man. Mitch Perry's a shit. And then we got a picture with the bass player from Quiet Riot. But I think the one where you saw like a bunch of guys, I think that was Driven by Turmoil.
Now, whenever you all went out there, did you guys have any kind of learning experience? Like going, well, was that Charles' first time out to LA?
Yeah, we've never been out west before.
Okay. So now that I asked that, did you guys have get any kind of learning experience out of that? Like learn anything from that, like for your music or personally or anything like that?
Stay away from prostitutes.
I learned that, you know, basically, because I had a long conversation with Mitch Perry, and he told me, he said, I've seen so many bands with so much potential not get anywhere because they didn't want to, they wouldn't want to take that big step, to risk it all to get where they want to go. And I've seen bands that didn't belong in the music industry that made it somewhere because they made that step to get where they want to go. It all depends on how bad you want it. And that's kind of stuck with me. So it's like, I'm ready to go all the way. Cannon Hill's ready to go all the way. We're here for the long run.
Yeah, we talk about quitting our jobs pretty much every practice, I think.
Yeah, saying I can't wait to quit my job. I can't wait to quit my job.
Dude, I do the same thing every day with this show.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all the time talking about, like, I got this plan. Like, I want to go full-time with it. I want to more of the local scene out there than what I can in a year. You know what I mean? If I could do this full-time, I could be bringing on, like, 3 people a week.
Yeah.
Right now, I do it literally on the weekends and on Monday. Yep. And then I do all my video editing and everything while I'm out on the road in a hotel.
Yeah.
Like, my goal is I want to be doing this full time eventually.
Yeah.
I've got a goal of like 2 to 3 years, but if it takes a little bit longer, it takes a little bit longer. If it happens sooner, it happens sooner.
Absolutely.
But I love doing this. Like, just sitting down and talking to you right now is awesome because I can talk anyone's fucking ear off.
Oh, me too.
And if I can get, like, sit here and help just you guys reach Texas or Idaho or some of those off-the-wall states, like, I've had a few people, like, bringing on, like, Kaluna, right? I had a few people hit me up and like, yo, who the fuck was that? I was like, well, their name's Kaluna. You can find them on Spotify. They went and looked them up and was like, those dudes are awesome.
Yeah, Kaluna's great.
They've got a new fan, and it was, like, right around Fort Hood, Texas.
Yeah.
I've had people hit me up about 12 Sins, which 12 Sins needs to fucking hurry up and put out some fucking original music because they got some bangers.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I just help you guys, like help anybody reach one new fan, band, or any kind of art, I feel like my mission was complete.
Yeah. See, that's kind of how we are. Like, you know, we play a show. We've played our fair share of empty venues. We didn't start seeing like a huge fan base up until pretty recently, or not even a huge fan base really, but just we didn't start seeing an actual fan base until pretty recently. And you know, I have my family like at a bunch of our shows, and you know, we played at Blue Fox with Any Given Sin last year in October, and you know, my grandmother was like, I heard people saying, "Oh my God, it's Cannon Hill!" Like walking up to the stage, and you know, that feels cool to me. You know, so if we hit,
Thanks,
like,
Mom.
But like if we hit just one person in the crowd, just one that likes us and that we can make them happy with our music, I like to chalk that up as a huge success.
Okay. I can bring it back to myself then. Jesus, Dakota.
Good. What
God
is wrong
damn.
with you? Who did this? Who hurt
I'm
you?
really good with one-liners.
Hold up. Time out. Every fucking time, like, he finishes talking, I look at you and you look like you're about to say something, so I'm, like, hesitating, switching the camera back or unmuting myself just because, like, I
feel like I'm butting in. That's why, I think.
I'm the same way.
Dude, I mean, I used to feel that way being, like, doing this. Like, I would, like, not say something because I didn't want to, like, cut somebody off or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just kind of got to the point where it was like, as soon as it feels like you're at the end of your statement, I'm going to jump right into it.
Yeah.
Or at the end of your statement or whatever. But anyways, let's bring this all back to what we were talking about because fucking Dakota over here looking like he wants to say something and he doesn't. But it's I think COVID had a lot to do with the crowds around here.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
We had with the other band that we was in, we had so many gigs lined up. We actually had pretty much a tour going on almost, and then COVID happened and it just canceled all. Which wasn't a bad thing for us because we didn't realize how much we sucked at that time. So.
The thing is like, you know, we weren't like terrible. We just weren't like we weren't set up for what we were trying to be.
We didn't really have chemistry, so it was like we were all playing okay, but we weren't really tight, you know.
Yeah.
So now, was Cannon Hill a project out of your all's old band kind of not happening no more?
Yes. So when me and Dakota actually never knew each other before we linked up to form Unchained. And it's weird because he's like my best friend now. But like when we separated with our former singer, we love you, Derek. Sorry, bud. But his voice just wasn't cut out for what we were doing. It's not that he's bad. It's just that, you know, it just wasn't cut out for what we were attempting to do. So we thought about, you know, well, a band's never the same when they change their singer. So, you know, we're going to try and change the name and just rebrand everything. And we just struggled with names. And then we realized he lived on Cannon Hill Road in Hedgesville. And then he just pitched Cannon Hill and we loved it. And we just went with Cannon Hill. Like our songs Live and Die and Black Magic, those were both Unchained songs originally. Black Magic was an Unchained song, and then we changed it from 1,000 Times Goodbye to Live and Die. So mostly because Megadeth has a song called 1,000 Times Goodbye, and Derek looks and sounds just like Dave Mustaine. So we kind of decided that we didn't want to risk any copyright. So
Well, I mean, if you look back over history, right? Like, unless they copyrighted the name of the song and not just the music, you'd be okay in that situation.
Yeah.
But in that situation where they copyrighted the name, well, you might be fucked a little.
Yeah, well, and 1,000 Times Goodbye is like such a popular song by Megadeth. Like any true metalhead, or I shouldn't say true metalhead, that makes me sound like an elitist douche, but any metalhead.
That's the kind of vibes I've been getting off you all night. I'm kidding.
But like any Megadeth fan knows 1,000 Times Goodbye. So like if you search up 1,000 Times Goodbye on YouTube, you're not even gonna hit the Unchained song. You're gonna hit, which by the way, I do not recommend ever listening to that Unchained song. Please.
Yeah, we should probably pull it down.
No, I think we should leave it up just for the hell of it because it's so bad. But
Halibut.
we had the nerve to charge people 99 cents for that song. Like it was that bad.
It was bad.
Jesus.
But like, if you search 1,000 Times Goodbye, you're just gonna hit Megadeth. So we just decided, like, you know, change the name, and then Michael Saint changed the lyrics a little bit, and like it worked really well. So we just kind of took it in stride, and now we're kind of moving in a heavier direction with our music, and we're starting to get a little heavier towards the more metal side than hard rock, and it's starting to come together pretty nice.
Yeah, we. When did we actually decide that we were going to metal?
It was after Michael Saint left. Michael Saint. Now, you know, don't get me wrong. He's a really nice guy. He's a friend of ours still. You know, he wasn't too into rock music before he got in with us. So when he heard the term metal, his thought was immediately instead of hearing metal and thinking Iron Maiden, he heard metal and thought Cannibal Corpse. So like he didn't know that metal was something outside of extreme metal. And he's not a fan of extreme metal, which, you know, hey, that's his right. He's allowed to, you know, have that opinion. That's fine. But he you know, so he was very grunge influenced is the best way to put it. And, you know, he just didn't want to be classified as a metal band because he always thought metal was extreme metal, which I get, you know, I understand it. But after Saint left, we kind of were like, well, you know, none of us are really influenced by grunge that much. So our sound is going to change drastically. And I think it has. Since Saint left. I mean, our riffs have a lot of, like, my riffs have a lot of, like, Southern influence to them, almost like Texas Hippie Coalition or Sons of Texas. And, like, you know, Dakota's drum beats are starting to get a little more metal. He's throwing a lot more double bass in there.
They
and
still suck. It's still bad.
Bullshit.
What do you mean it's still bad?
It's still bad. According to TikTok, I suck.
No, according to TikTok, your drum setup sucks. We went viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like overnight because his drum kit was set up like in a weird way, and people were so pissed at the fact that his drum kit was not set up the way they like it.
The truth is, I was lazy and I didn't position my toms like the way I usually position them because we just got back from a gig and I set my drums up and I just kind of left them there and I didn't really adjust them when I got back on it. So we took a video. It was like, I don't know, you know, one of them trends that they do or whatever.
Guess who our drummer is?
Yeah.
Which, shout out to James for playing the Pornhub intro at the end.
Yeah. So, and then, like, it just goes, it hit, I think it's, what, like 30,000 views right now?
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. Like, people are pissed at you.
Everyone hates me, but that's fine.
Well, people are going to hate the guitar one more because, you know, guitar elitists are the absolute worst.
I think we should do a part 2, and then I'm just going to set my drums even in a weirder position just to make people even more mad.
Well, we're going to have to with that damn tom rack.
Yeah.
You should have seen us trying to caveman this damn tom rack together. That he bought a tom rack, and we were trying to, like, caveman this thing together. We're like, ooh, unga bunga.
It came with no instructions at all. So, like, we're over here, like, what the fuck? You know?
Have you ever heard of YouTube?
Yes, but it didn't.
It didn't
help.
do anything. It did not do anything.
God damn it. Anytime that, like, I'm trying to figure something out, the first thing I do is I go straight to you and say, why won't blank work or how to do blank, you know? And if I can't find it within like 3-4 videos, I'll be like, you know what? Maybe I need to reword this. I have spent an hour and a half looking for the exact video I'm looking for because I know it's out there. Like especially with this tech stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, it's out there. It has to be. Now, putting together a tom rack, I really don't know about, but
Yeah.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Apparently, neither do I. We even like called like my friend who plays drums, and he took a look at it and was like, "Yeah, I have no fucking clue." I was like, "Gee, thanks. That's helpful." So,
Yeah, it's set up pretty weird now, so I think I'm just gonna play it like that and post it on TikTok.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna take my guitar amp head and just set it sideways on my speaker cab, and I'm gonna do the Coke can pyramid that we're talking about.
People get so mad over nothing. Like
They do, man.
it's-
Elitism. There's elitists for every instrument, every genre of music, everything. And I found out that no elitist is worse than metal guitar players. Metal guitar player elitists are the worst. You don't sweep pick, you suck.
you're
Like,
just saying that because you're a guitar player, so it offends you more.
it doesn't offend me at all. I think it's hilarious.
well, I mean, whenever it comes to fucking anything, like the elitists are terrible.
Dude, they are.
Just because you don't play the way I like to fucking play, blah, 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 blah. Fuck off, dude. Everyone has their own comfortable style with how they do shit.
Yeah, dude. Like elitism is a cancer, I think, to rock and metal, dude. Because I'm just trying to, like when people are ragging on his drum kit, I'm like, so are we just making fun of people who are trying to be comfortable now? Like, is there a specific way to be comfortable now?
I wasn't really comfortable. I was just lazy because I didn't feel like
Well,
setting it up.
thanks for letting me stand up for you, Dakota. Now you can fend for yourself. Fuck you. But like one of the like bigger things that I've noticed about elitism is the fact that they come up with these bullshit excuses as to why they think they're justified to treat people the way they do and why they're so damn stuck up on everything. They think that like they think they're so much better than you because they do it their way. And it's like rock and metal was built on not being told what to do. So congratulations, you're telling people what to do in a genre where people go to escape being told what not to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What do you think, Dakota? Like, what do you think about elitism?
I think you're one of them.
Gee, thanks. Even though I'm calling out elitists on the fucking daily.
Yeah, because you're always like, oh, that's not how I play guitar.
Yeah, it's not how I play, but I don't judge people for how they play.
Oh, you judge me all the time. Every time I pick up your guitar, I see it in your face.
That is so not true, because you're actually a good guitarist.
Rage goes through your eyes.
That's not fucking true. I see it when I play your drum kit, bitch. Every time I play your drum kit, you're like, this motherfucker. But like, no, like I don't care how anybody plays. Whatever makes it easier for you to make the sounds you want to make on your instrument, by all means, fucking play it. Like all of my guitar riffs are the same fucking scales, and it's the simplest shit. Like all my guitar solos are like simple pentatonic, blues, and harmonic minor. That's a recipe for a Cannon Hill riff right there. Is those three scales, and fucking throw it to a 4/4 drum beat, you're good to go.
But the most catchiest riffs are the simplest.
That's true. AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, like Led Zeppelin. None
Like,
of their shit's crazy hard to play, but it's brilliant.
Like when you first pick up a guitar, the first thing you want to learn is something catchy and easy. You know, like the first thing I learned when I picked up a guitar was I'm going to draw a blank. Eye of the Tiger.
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
Mine was Iron Man by Black Sabbath.
Yep.
It's just it's so crazy to me how guitar playing has evolved into this thing where it was simplistic, like AC/DC. If you listen to AC/DC, like all of Angus Young's guitar solos were pentatonic scale, but they were fucking amazing. Like Angus Young could fucking play. And I don't think it's what you play or how many notes you play in a segment. I think it's what you do with those notes. Can you make somebody feel something?
Right.
I think that's what's
Yeah,
important.
it's just got to hit that person. And
Yeah.
once when it hits that person, you're set.
Yeah.
Fucking man. Thank you guys for helping me right there. The fucking battery was about to die in the camera. And whenever I flipped over to like come to me that last time, it said power low. So I was like, oh, fuck. So I appreciate you all for saving my ass right there.
Hey, dude, I could talk up a storm. I could sit here for hours and just talk about nothing, man.
But whenever it comes down to it, holy shit. I feel like if you listen back, a lot of bands, you can tell whose song it is right off the bat just
Yeah.
because of how the guitars or the drums are played. Like, look at Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah. Well, Full Moon, our song Full Moon, that one's my personal favorite. That one came from Dakota. Like, you can tell, like, the drum beat in the beginning, like, it's all tom, it's badass. And, you know, we're trying to take the step of not trying to make something more complicated than it needs to be, just making it what we like. And honestly, I like the simplicity. I like making it simple. Like, you know, that's one of the steps that we're taking to try and make it somewhere in the music industry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you look at all the bands that's like top notch. You know what I mean? Like the bands that are like the grandfathers of rock and roll. And most of their stuff is not hard to play.
Not at all.
You know? Like it's like AC/DC. I mean, not all Metallica, some Metallica songs. I like Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
You know, their songs are
Zeppelin.
easy. Zeppelin. Yeah, their songs are pretty easy to play usually.
Yep.
But and they're like up there. So it's like it always like blows my mind when people like do this crazy stuff and like they'll be awesome at what they're doing and do all this stuff, but like no one's gonna turn that on in their car.
You can't.
know what I mean?
You can't relate
really,
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this is my mindset on it is what I think what made those bands so big was that the kids that were coming up in that era heard them
tried to do
and they
better.
were like, I can do that.
Yeah.
They were like, I can do that. And it inspired a generation to pick up an instrument, whether it be drums, guitar, whatever it is. It inspired those kids. It put something in them. You know, when you have like Yngwie Malmsteen, don't get me wrong, Yngwie Malmsteen's a brilliant guitar player. But when you have like Yngwie Malmsteen or Michelangelo Badio or something like that, just sweep picking and shredding away, your average child is not going to look at that and go, I want to play that. Your average kid's going to go, I have no reason to play.
Yeah.
You know, like you need your Angus Youngs and your Jimmy Pages, you know, your guys who understand that less is more. You know, write shorter songs, write the catchy but simple riff, you know, experiment, try something new.
Yeah.
You guys are totally speaking outside of my fucking goals. Because, like, so whenever I say, like, I've been a huge proponent of music, like, music has been my life. Like, the most of the music I listen to anymore is, like, metalcore, right?
Yeah.
So, like, whenever I first started, like, getting really, really into music, it was Slipknot. So I did this whole fucking project on them, you know, pretty much found out, like, almost where Joey Jordison's family home was in the 5th grade. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the simplicity of a lot of people's music, you know, you think these bigger bands are playing super technical music, and then you go and watch, and it's like, okay, they are playing technical, but they're playing technical in a simple way.
Yeah.
And simplicity is always my favorite thing. Like, the simplest you can make it, in my opinion, the more beautiful it can be, because it's not overcomplicated. You can inspire someone to play what you play, or inspire them to draw or do tattoos, or, you know, like let's go to tattoos, you know. I've got a couple of them.
Yeah. No, so do I.
And but like, you look at some of these tattoos and it's like, holy shit, like there's so much in that one tattoo that's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you see some tattoos that are a shit ton of stuff in one tattoo, and it's like, okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, dude, simplicity's key.
It is.
I mean, coming into the studio, like, nothing in here is like overbearing. Like our logos are simple as fuck.
Yeah.
The way we do things are super simple. We just sit down and fucking chat.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, and like being on stage too, you're gonna want to entertain people. you know, and you can't really entertain people if you're just like standing in one spot the whole show and doing all this complicated stuff because you're afraid of messing up. So you want to be able to like move around and put on a show and get the crowd involved, you know, and all this other stuff so you can entertain people, because that's what you're doing when you get up on stage. You become an entertainer. You know?
It's the entertainment industry, you know, and that's where I think that a lot of like modern bands have like lost their way, because if you look at those bands like, you know, Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses and Van Halen, what did they all have in common? They had an entertaining frontman who got the crowd into it, and all of them, you know, it was one of those things where you didn't know where you wanted to watch the stage because everybody was doing something fucking exciting. I mean, look at what Motley Crue did with Tommy Lee in that rolling fucking cage while he's drumming.
Yeah.
Who would have ever in a million years thought of doing something like that other than Tommy Lee?
Right.
Like, it's brilliant, you know, and I think that, you know, entertaining your crowd can be a lot more beneficial than writing great music. But I think writing great music is also a key component in that. And it's like, if you take a lot of simple things and mesh them into one idea, it becomes complex, but like he said, in a simple way. Okay. And it's like, it's brilliant, you know. It's truly music is truly a crazy beast to try to tame, but it's a hell of a beast to try to tame, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Even if like a band, like if I go to a concert and I don't really like a band, but they're entertaining, I'm gonna stay and watch their set because they're entertaining. You know what I mean? Because it's even like I might not listen to them in the car on the way home, but
they were cool as fuck.
But I'm gonna watch their set. Yeah.
Like me, like you know, hey, when we were at Blue Ridge Rock Festival, I'll be the first to admit, like, you know, this is kind of a hot take, but fuck it, I'll say it. I am not a huge fan of Hailstorm. I am not a huge fan of Hailstorm's music. Don't get me wrong. They sound good, and what they're doing is good. It's just not my speed. It's not my thing. That being said, when I saw them at Blue Ridge Rock Festival, they were fucking awesome. Their set was incredible. Like, it was impressive to watch how her and how Lizzie Hale and their lead guitarist would do harmonies together, and they were so tight. And everything they were doing was entertaining. And I thought that was impressive as shit. So they definitely gained a lot of respect from me. And hell, even from watching that set, I discovered a few songs of theirs that I like. You know, I'm not closed-minded about bands at all. Like, at one point, I didn't like Nickelback, but I started jamming out to Nickelback, and I was like, holy shit, they fucking rock. Nickelback's the shit.
Dude, like, so I remember whenever I first started going to the local Right Live shows, and I was never a big fan of, like, deathcore or that, like, slash metal or whatever the fuck, you know. I like clean vocals just as much as I like screaming, you know. And going to a lot of these shows, like fucking going to see Delinda, like holy shit, or amongst the Triffids, Triffids,
they were good, man.
Dude, they were fucking dope, you know. And I've never been a huge fan of that type of music. I've always been that metalcore pop punk guy.
Yeah.
You know, like The Story So Far, I Set to Kill, A Skylit Drive, A Day to Remember.
Right.
You know, I'm a basic white girl and all, but all those bands like morphed my music taste into what it is today. I mean, I listen to a little bit of everything. You know, I like my hip hop, I like my rap.
Oh, of course.
Hip hop,
me too.
Whatever, pop, R&B. I like a little bit of everything. But 9 times out of 10, whenever you get in my car, it's probably pop punk playing.
Right.
More than less likely. I'm a huge, like, Blink-182 fan. The Story So Far, Man Overboard.
Yeah. Yeah, like when I first started getting into, like, rock and metal, I was not a fan of death metal one bit. And then as I started, like, getting older, my palate started to, like, mature a little bit. I started discovering the bands like Morbid Angel and Death and Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that. And I was like, damn, these guys are really good. And then I started broadening my horizons after that, because I'm like, well, if I can like this, then I'm sure I can find something I like about this. And then come to find out, like, there's something that I like about almost every genre of music. I mean, there's something I can appreciate about almost all of it. There's nothing that I cannot say something entirely negative about one whole genre. there's certain points, you know, about it, like pop music. You know, I'm not a big fan of the whole processed, auto-tuned, bubblegum stuff that they do, but I got to admit there is a lot of pop artists that have great voices and they write really catchy songs.
T-Pain.
Yeah, we actually made a joke in the studio that we should make Michael Saint sound like T-Pain on the album.
Well, I mean, I never knew T-Pain could actually sing until I saw him jump behind that piano that whenever he did the cover of like Buy You a Drink or whatever fucking song it was. I can't remember what it was. And he's actually singing and I'm like, why in the fuck would you fucking auto-tune that? But if you look back in that day, and even today, auto-tune sells.
It does.
Natural voice does not sell.
It does. And it's crazy. And I think, I know, I was watching, I watched this guy on YouTube. He's called Spectre Sound Studios. His name's Glenn Fricker. That guy, first of all, his YouTube channel is hilarious. But he's also really informative. And he brought up a great point of bands, they don't record albums live off the floor anymore. Everything is done piece by piece. And he brought up how the Beatles and Zeppelin and the Stones and like all those bands used to record together all at once. And it brought a whole new energy to the recording. It brought this chemistry together to the recording. And like, you don't really hear that much anymore. It's crazy, you know, how recording technology has evolved and, you know, how you're able to do it piece by piece now. But I would like to see a band record something live off the floor.
We should do it.
That was going to be my next point. Is I think I want to do that with the next Cannon Hill because we're going to do an EP. We're going to be recording an EP after we get a vocalist set in stone, and we're going to try. We talked about trying to do it live off the floor, I believe, didn't we?
Yeah, but we can't really find someone that wants to do that.
Yeah, well, miking up a cabinet is a very difficult art form. And, you know, somebody has to spend very many hours learning on how to mic up a cabinet. And there's just not very many people that are able to spend time on doing that. So it'd be hard to find a producer.
Do you feel like that is possibly part of the reason why you don't hear too many bands recording live off the floor anymore? Is because of like the time and energy it takes to like mic up a cabinet, you know, mic up a drum kit, plus also make sure the vocals are good, all in the same fucking hit. I mean, doing it live is one thing.
Yeah.
But doing it to sound crisp out of a studio is a completely another fucking animal.
Yeah, you know, and it begs the question of why don't bands do that anymore? You know, like Zeppelin, they did it all the time and they sounded fucking phenomenal on everything. And, you know, Zeppelin's my all-time favorite band, so I always go to Zeppelin. But, like, you know, there's so many bands that did it really well in the studio, and it's like, you know, those were all brilliant musicians who knew their parts. And I see in our local scene brilliant musicians who all know their parts, and I would love to see someone in our scene actually do that and see what they can do. I think that would be fucking dope.
Do you think part of it is it's just easier to get the pieces in one by one instead of going in as a full band? Because looking at a lot of bands in this local scene, everyone's schedules conflict.
Yes.
Because of, you know, you're still working your full-time job. You know, you're doing the music, you're doing your full-time job, you're doing whatever side hustles you have. So I think at least in the local scene, the biggest problem is no one's
got
schedules
the time.
Line up enough to sit there and take the time to learn how to do that.
I can agree with that. I was thinking more of on like a larger level when I was saying that I think a band should do that. But, you know, I would enjoy seeing a local band do the live off the floor thing. But, you know, like you said, you brought up a great point that I didn't even think about. You know, we still got jobs and we still got, like, you know, other shit to do. Outside of that, we still got a life to lead that involves us not being homeless. So, you know, it's like we got a little bit of a time crunch, but it's like
we've talked about moving in together, like just to get the time, you know what I mean?
Make sure you're talking into the mic. Hey, if you need to pull it down a little bit just so it's a little bit like more in front of you and tilt it a little bit beter for you. Okay. Dude, like I said, you can move that sumbitch wherever you want it.
Yeah, you're pulling a Lemmy from Motorhead right now.
Yeah. Just make sure you're speaking into it just cuz like with these being dynamic microphones, they do not pick up side.
Yeah,
weight
no.
well
I've
at
noticed
all.
that because I'm like over here sometimes, and it's
Yeah.
not doing nothing.
Well, dude, that's part of the reason we wear headphones because I hate interrupting someone whenever they're in the middle of talking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, hey, look, I can barely hear you. That means the person listening to this can barely hear you.
Yeah.
And the reason we wear headphones is because then sometimes you can catch yourself and you be like, oh, fuck, I'm too far to the side of the mic.
Yeah, I've caught myself a couple times here.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we've talked about moving in together just so like we have that time to like write and stuff, which I mean we probably won't do, but it's been brought up a couple times. You know, just to get that like that time that we lost as a band, because I feel like if we're like around each other all the time, like just when because like ideas come to us when we're separate. So, and we can't really bring it to each other until practice, and sometimes we forget about it when we come to practice, you know, so it's like, yeah.
Well, I think, first of all, your wife would cut my head off if she had to live with me for over a week.
No, but you remember we were talking about, like...
Yeah, we were
yeah.
talking about that for a while, yeah. It was a topic of conversation, but we never went through with it.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah, probably a good thing. Like I said, your wife would kill me at some point, and I'm sure, you know.
I'd probably kill myself.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow. Thanks.
Have you guys ever thought about talking to Brad Harden over at the Basement Sessions? They're talking about putting together like live recorded like video albums for bands.
That sounds really dope, and no, I haven't even heard anything about that, but that sounds really fucking cool.
Whenever you get a second, jump over to YouTube and check out Basement Sesh at Venue TV. They've done a lot of cool stuff with God damn it, what's Elijah's last name? He's a acoustic act. They did an episode with Longo, Cam, and I'm not going to give anything away by saying the other person they recorded with, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And they also went down to Baltimore and recorded the band Like Fires Everywhere whenever they played at Auto Bar.
Damn.
So that's something they're looking at getting into, is like getting with bands and like doing like recording a live set for them, turning it possibly into like a DVD or like online film or whatever. But then also sitting down with them at their local bar, like whatever bar got them to start or whatever bar they consider their hometown bar, and doing an interview at the bar.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds really fucking dope. We might have to look into that.
Yeah, I'm down. I would be down.
Oh, I'm down as shit. I'm down for whatever, you know.
I feel bad because I'm throwing them on you guys. I sponsor them, and they're really fucking awesome people. I mean,
yeah.
video-wise, they know their shit.
Hell yeah.
They know how to get audio through very well. And whenever I first started talking to them, the one guy was like, you're not going to be mad at us because like we're kind of doing the same thing. I was like, we are, but we aren't. I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are getting their music out there. You're asking them questions about their music. I'm having like personal level conversations with people. Like that's my goal. Is I know as a fan, I feel a lot more personable to a band if I feel like I know them on a little bit of a personal level. I don't want to know their whole personal life, but like, you know, if I've seen an interview, like with Corey Taylor's done 1,000 interviews where he goes into his shitty fucking childhood or he goes into his drug addiction. And, you know, sometimes you don't connect with a band on a personal level until you hear about, oh shit, maybe they dealt with the same shit I did growing up.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just as cool as I am or have the same interests I have. So that's kind of where this show is. But anyways, back to Basement Sessions. I honestly think you guys should hit them up. Once you get a vocalist, once you guys start doing shows and getting everything put together, like you honestly should, because they are some really dope fucking people.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I love like that our scene is so inclusive. Like our area is like really inclusive because like a lot of different areas in the country are not so inclusive. Like a lot of areas are like every band for themselves and they treat it like a competition, and it's like it's really shitty because like all the bands that we've worked with here, well not all of them, but a good majority of the bands that we worked with here are like really cool towards us. Like we're always looking to help each other out. Like, we work really closely with 2 bands. Survive the Conspiracy, which our rhythm guitarist James plays and sings for them, and American Dharma. We work really tight with them. Like, Chris is a really good friend of mine, and Jesse Neal has helped me with my guitar setup. Like, they're all good friends of ours, and like, I love that our scene is so inclusive. So I love to hear people doing stuff like that. Bring in, and I think it helps bring bands together when they all have one specific outlet to go to for certain things. It brings bands together. Like, hey, we did this, go check them out. It's kind of like a help me help you type thing, and it's really cool.
Yeah, like he was saying, it is cool because like if we weren't, then we would have had to cancel some gigs. Just because we were cool with American Dharma, their singer stepped in and helped us with a gig, which we would have been screwed if he didn't. So it's pretty cool.
Well, guys, we're getting pretty close to being at an hour and a half. I say we start wrapping this thing up. You guys got any closing statements before we end this thing?
I guess just, my biggest thing is I just love seeing bands work together, and it's just like, it's fucking awesome, Keep your eyes out on our social media, because we're eventually, after we get this vocalist situation figured out, we're going to be doing this EP, and we're going to be, doing a bunch of recording and releasing some really fun shit. So
I tried out, but they said no.
Where, God damn it. Where can they find you on social media?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
You can make fun of my drums.
Yeah, you can make fun of the drums on TikTok. And then, of course, we're all our music, all our current music, the Cannon Hill album. It's self-titled. It's on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple, all that good shit. So,
are there any special tags for you guys? Like, Instagram, is it like Cannon Hill Official?
Yeah,
TikTok, Cannon Hill Official.
Cannon Hill Official and Cannon Hill Band, I think.
Well, on Facebook, we're just Cannon Hill. But
I mean, the tag, the hashtag.
Yeah, I think it's Cannon Hill Band, yeah.
Well, the only reason I ask is because, we got to throw the tags in there, y'all. Mm-hmm. We can't sit here and say, "Hey, check us out," and then people's like, "Well, where the fuck do I find them at?"
Just look for 2 crossed cannons like that. You'll find us.
Look for Toms.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, everybody, make sure to go check them out on Facebook at Cannon Hill, Instagram Cannon Hill Band,
Cannon Hill Official,
Cannon Hill Official. And then on TikTok is definitely Cannon Hill Official, because I found that while I took a TikTok of them while they were talking, and I tagged them in it.
And now you're on TikTok. I'll have to follow you.
Hell yeah, we are. We post some funny shit. Actually, most of it's just show updates. I'm trying to get into that funnier side of TikTok, but you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
But everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Give us some feedback on what you think about our first in-studio video. That would be awesome. Would love to make it better for everybody, because this was my first time, and this is I just kind of wung it. It's not the best it could be, but it's not the worst it could be either. If you also could, go check out our new website.
Yeah.
It just popped up. I just made it last weekend. Check us out at thewilsonkingpodcast.com. You can find all of our episodes there, any videos that are posted to YouTube. And check us out on YouTube at thewilsonkingpodcast.com, because that is, the Wilson King Podcast on YouTube, because that's where all these videos are going to go. All this audio is going to be pushed to our normal spots, Facebook, Instagram, not Instagram, y'all got me all fucked up. Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever the fuck you normally listen to us at. But I appreciate everybody's support. If you could also, I know I'm plugging so much shit right now, but go to Buy Me a Coffee, and don't subscribe yet, because I'm still figuring out some dope stuff we can do for you guys to give you some extra content on top of what we already give you. But donate, even if it's a fucking $1, help us make this show better. Help us keep bringing this show that you guys love. And with that being said, everybody have a great rest of your week. Be safe. Be responsible. The camera's on you. Peace.